Okay, so we have just started with a recording, and today we are dealing with the following. Your school needs you. So we have a lot of interesting discussions today about a number of issues, because you must have noticed if you have started with Module 9 that the point to discuss will be English outside the classroom. Say, English is everywhere, but only in the classroom. And our learners need to reach out for this other English outside the classroom to continue with the learning. English in class, the time we spend in class learning English might not be enough. So we need to push them out so that they continue with the learning process. Of course, within the module, we will also be practicing modal verbs, expressing different concepts, and also the area of error correction, right? So very vast, very broad topics, and very interesting as well. So first things first. At the beginning, we always work at the individual. At the individual level means that we stop and think, right? So when you stop and think, you may want to write down a few notes to make sure that you don't forget anything. So the question is, what should or could students do to learn English outside the classroom? Should, meaning recommendation. What is it that we can recommend our students to do to learn English outside the classroom? Or what is it that they could do? What possible ways can they find to learn English outside the classroom? So, time for thinking, jotting down ideas, and then we will share them. Okay? So, thinking time on, click. What should or could students do to learn English outside the classroom so that they can maximize the learning process? It's not okay. So take a couple of seconds more to think. I bet that your students are already doing things to learn English outside the classroom. And once you're ready, okay, thank you, Mariam. Go to the chat box and write your ideas. Thank you, Marianne. One of the most powerful ways of continuing is listening to the news and to video films in English. Watching movies, says Huda. Of course, with English subtitles, I would suggest. Yes, Farah, watching movies, because it's entertaining, but at the same time, it gives them further exposure to the language. There are also podcasts, thank you, Huda, very interesting podcasts about different topics dealing with adolescence, topics dealing with job opportunities, all sorts of podcasts, and they are very well prepared. So very, very good option. Reading stories. Sure, Ms. Al-Khorani, reading stories gives them further input, the same as, well, videos, films, movies, podcasts, that is oral input. Reading stories will give them written input, and that they will have the opportunity to start building their vocabulary further as well. As Rawan adds, listening to podcasts is a wonderful experience as well. Reading books, as Hanan adds. So watching movies, Abir says, for oral input, and reading books for written input. Talking to native speakers, Ms. Al-Khorani, I would like to know how often can your students speak to native speakers or talk to native speakers? Is it that they use the video games to do this, Ms. Al-Khorani? Would you like to tell me?
No, they can have online courses because it's available now too much. And I would like to add something very important about Jordan. Jordan mainly is a tourist attraction, and there are a lot of visitors, tourists from all parts of the world. And there are a lot of tourists who speak English. We can use this point. For example, we have Petra, Wadi Rum, Bedouins who work there. They speak English fluently, although they can't write it, but they can speak fluently better than teachers and students, and with accents. They can speak more than one language.
Wow, amazing. So notice how uh, impactful tourism can be, that it brings opportunities for learning English outside the classroom. I love this idea, and you can even optimize the idea by engaging your students in projects in which they have to go out, get the information from the tourists, and bring them back to the classroom. That's an amazing thing, right? Thank you. Thank you so much. Reading books and stories, writing diaries. Wow. Is that a usual thing, Abdal Karim? Do they tend to write their own diaries in English? Have you seen this happen? Yes, Abdal Karim. How
Yes.
yes, how often do your students write their own diaries in English?
Oh, yes.
Do they do this often, Abdal Karim?
No.
hmm
Huh?
Do you think it's some
Hello?
yes, do you think it is something they could do?
You hear me?
Yes, yes, of course.
I think that there is a big shift of the connection. There is no connection between what the student learn inside the school and the community where do they live. This can reduce the student motivation to the language itself. Uh, Most of the students never write diaries. I think the diaries can keep a student in touch with the language. They can uh, keep in touch with the language. They can read and write. That's make them connect to the language.
Okay. So would you encourage them to write diaries
Yes,
in English?
yes, I do.
Mm-hmm. You actually do this. This is something you are
Yes,
actually, oh,
yes.
and do you read their diaries and respond?
Sometimes I post them on the board. I
Okay.
choose some good diaries and post them on the board and inside the class.
Okay. Okay. And how do they feel about this? Say that you socialize what they have written. Are they proud of what they have
Yes, yes, I think they feel proud. They motivated to
written?
write more.
Okay, okay.
Yes.
Wonderful. I never thought of this as an interesting way of learning English outside the classroom. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, Mariam adds reading magazines. Oh, yes, definitely. Watching cartoons, Abir says. Is that this usual, Abir? Do they usually watch cartoons in English or do they prefer their mother tongue?
Actually, most of my students they prefer to watch cartoons in English, and also they like watching movies in English. They learn the accent, they learn the language, and they are motivated to tell us about the film review in English. We encourage them to do this.
Good. So it's part of your school project, say, engage them in watching movies or cartoons, and then when they come back, they engage in, where they are engaged in writing a review or describing what they have seen.
Yes, we consider it as a part of the project sometimes with a few marks, just to encourage them to learn from movies.
Okay, and how appropriate is it to give them a mark for something that they do at home or somewhere else?
Actually, يعني some students they couldn't do or they refuse to do anything without marks. Just we put 2 to 3 marks to encourage them, to obligate them. Some students they find themselves that it is a good way to learn English.
Okay.
And they write more than one movie, not only one movie for the project. They love the idea.
Well, this
And applied also we applied the idea of writing diaries. Most of the students they encouraged themselves and they were motivated to do more, to write every day, and they want to read our feedback or our comments on their diary or the film review that they have produced or for us.
Okay, so you engage in some kind of flipped classroom technique where they do some work at home and then they bring the results of their work and you actually give them some feedback, don't you?
Thank you so much for this point. Flipped classroom, I applied it for a few years. I was teaching in Kingdom of Bahrain. We have new strategies and we had some ideas such as a flipped classroom. Yes, this way encourage the students for speaking, for recording videos, and have discussion about them.
Well, this seems to have been very successful, hasn't it?
Yes, and they loved it so much.
Okay, so they learned English and they got enthusiastic about it.
Yes,
Good,
that's
great.
it.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
I am amazed at all the number of ideas that you're bringing in. I'm delighted, really. So thank you. Mahdi, you talk about word games. What do you refer to word games?
I mean, something like crosswords, maybe.
Oh,
There are some apps on the mobile phones that are games. You can start, yeah, or tell your students to play these games, maybe.
okay. So you are thinking of apps on their cell phones that can give them more opportunities to learn vocabulary, for example.
Exactly.
Mm,
I
great.
think these games could encourage the students to keep memorizing these words.
Of course, because the words come again and again, and through reiteration, the vocabulary starts being processed and understood. Lovely. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. Ahmed Sabatini, hello. You mentioned the fact of trying to talk in English with whose family? With their family? Whose family do you mean? Their own family or other people's families? Because I was wondering whether you meant that their own family actually speaks in English, which is okay. At home, we speak English, although, I mean, when we practice, we can use English. Mariam also talks about chatting with friends in English. Nobody mentioned video games. Do your students play video games with students with people around the world? Anybody? Do your
It
students?
has a lot of side effects, I think. That's why no one is mentioning this type of games.
Oh, I see. I see. Because
You
some,
mean like Roblox?
well, not exactly that one, which is a bit dangerous for our students, but there are other games where students need to exchange things or information. I don't know if they do this, but it's surprising that they pick a lot of new vocabulary when they do this. Sometimes my students speak Spanish, the Brazilian children speak Portuguese, and they communicate in English. Can you believe it? Yes, it's amazing. English being an international language. So yeah, I was wondering. Okay, Akram talks about encouraging students to learn English by watching football matches. Come on, Akram, tell me about your experience. When has this ever happened? Have you ever suggested this? Akram, if you can, turn on your mic. If not, I pass on to, I would like to know if anybody has ever encouraged your students to get them to watch football matches in English, which is a great idea, of course. No? No one? Okay.
I think
Yes.
football matches doesn't have the whole or a lot of vocabularies to learn. It will be specific for just for football only. Maybe watching maybe sometimes or listening, let's say, to radios like BBC radio or radios or podcasts are better, I think, than listening to commentary on the football match.
Okay, all right. So we would probably suggest listening to other types of broadcast messages, right? Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, great ideas, excellent ideas. I would like you to now get into groups and talk about these ideas, but more specifically. We talked about websites and apps. We didn't talk about English clubs. Gaming, we mentioned in passing. What about social networking so that they can speak in English? We have talked about music, podcast, YouTube videos. And number 5 would be finding a hobby, right? Which they can do in English. Well, we talked about reading stories. We talked about writing diaries. Okay, so I'm going to prepare the groups. There are 3 questions I want you to answer. Do your learners engage in this kind of activity? What are the benefits of doing this? And what issue could there be? What problems might we have to face? Some of you have already mentioned some difficulties, so it's okay. We want to go more deeply into this. All right. So let me prepare the groups. Let me get you into 5 groups. So remember the questions? Who remembers the first question that I asked?
Do the students engage in these patterns of learning?
Excellent. Thank you, Huda. Do your students engage in this kind of activities? Number 2 had to do with the
Benefits.
And number 3 had to do with
What are the
Problems.
the challenges.
Problems or issues.
Exactly. You will have 5 minutes to go through this, and I will also appoint coordinators. In group 1, there is number 1. In group 1, that is group number 1, we'll talk about websites, apps, and all that. Akram, Amer, Hanan, and Rawan. I'm going to ask Amer to coordinate and report. In group 2, there is Ahmad Abdel Dayem, Huda, Lubna, and Mahdi. And I'm going to ask Lubna to coordinate. Group 3, there's Ahmed Sabatin, Ala Al-Khorani, Farah, and Mariam. Farah, you will be the coordinator. Remember to take a photograph so that you know what you're going to talk about. Number 4, Abdel Karim, Ala Al-Sadreh, and Ahmad Al-Gul. Ala Al-Sadreh, you will be the coordinator. And in group number 5, Abir, Ala Abu, and Ayat. And I'm going to ask Ala Abu to be the coordinator. So take a picture of this slide if you want. I'm opening the rooms, 5 minutes. Coordinators, get ready, have the conversation. And when you come back, be ready to talk about the different the benefits, the issues, and of course, if your learners are doing this. Great. See you in a little while. Great. So Amer, they're waiting for you. Lubna, you are in charge, so please go and join them. Ahmad Al-Dayem, please join. Ala Abu, you are the coordinator, so please join the group. Thank you. See you in 5 minutes. I'm going to start the recording again, and I'm going to ask everybody to come back. There we are. All right. We're good, good. In 30 seconds, everybody will be back, and we will have some sharing time. We will share our views about the different ways our students can engage in using English outside the classroom. So I'm going to share the link again. This is the screen we were watching. Great. Okay. So I think we are all here now. Yes, we are all here. Thank you very much. Thank you for number 1. I'm going to thank coordinators for get the discussion going. And I'm going to ask the same coordinators to share the answers to your questions. I try to summarize, because I know you talked, you have a lot of ideas, but try to keep this short. I'm going to start by Amer in group 1. Amer, you were talking about websites, apps for learning English for free. Do your students use them? Benefits and issues. Yes, Amer.
Yes, okay. How are you, Miss Sylvia?
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Okay, we discussed together about these activities. So we answered the 3 questions. And all of us agree about the following. Now, first of all, do your learner engage by these activities? We can say yes. They can encourage, or we encourage them to do like this activities. For example, a video game to watch, and summarize to discussion the lecture to our class. And we can ask some students to make summarize for the class or for the lecture. About the benefits, they can use or practice it outside the classroom, so they can improve their skills outside طبعا. The last one, disadvantages. Yani we have many disadvantages, like lack of technology or internet network. Students can't find someone to talk with him or her, as my fellow said. That's it.
Okay, very clear summary. Thank you, Amer. Thank you, Group 1.
You're welcome.
I was wondering whether you were talking about apps such as Duolingo. I suppose that your students know about these apps. I have a question about, yes, you know Duolingo, and some of your students probably use it. You mentioned the fact that they improve their skills, yes, when visiting websites, when using apps for learning English for free.
Mhm.
What skills do you think these activities might improve?
As the subject they have. As the subject they have. For example, if he saw or if he see a video about how to pronounce the letter C.
Okay. So
Yeah,
probably some aspects of a language.
yeah. Some
In
aspects
addition
of the
to
language.
speaking and listening, of course.
Listening. So, to what extent do you think that listening skills can be improved by accessing websites or apps? To what extent?
You mean how they can improve their listening?
A lot, a little, more or less?
No, a lot. Of course, a lot. They can hear and they can talk.
Okay, so you have noticed a big improvement among the students who frequently use websites and apps in English. Have you? Yes?
I don't understand. What do you need?
If you,
Really?
if you have noticed that
Yeah.
the improvement, the growth in those students who frequently use websites and apps in English, have you?
I think they will improve their English listening skills and speaking also.
Okay. So you feel that this is an effective way of learning English outside the classroom?
Yes, they will be immersed in English environment when we use these applications, websites.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Group 1. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That was very
Yes.
clear and to the point. Thank you. Now,
Thank
I'm
you.
going to ask Group 4. That was Ala, yes? Group 4. We're talking about music,
Yes,
podcasts. Yes.
yes, hello.
Over to you. I'd like to listen to you.
Yes, we are in group 4 and we discussed about the benefits and problems or challenges for the podcasts that students or learners might be face. First, the benefits of the podcasts maybe improve listening. Students learn a new vocabulary and new phrases, increase motivation, and students learn the accents from the native speaker. And sometimes they might be in this point the students might be a challenge because native speakers speak fast, and they build better comprehension. That's it for the benefits of podcast. Second, the challenge, lack of internet or technology for some students, hard to understand fast speakers, and sometimes some podcast they don't have subtitles. Um, that's it.
Great. Thank you. So let's see if I understood correctly. Do your students listen to music, podcasts? Do they watch movies in English? Do they do that already?
Yes, some students do that.
Okay. If you had a group of students who didn't, what could you do to motivate them?
Yes, for me, I encourage them to learn and for a weak students to learn a new to learn a new vocabulary, to read short stories, and yes, to learn a basic grammar to motivate them.
Okay. Sometimes, in my case, I I get them to start watching the movie in class. And then I say, all right, go home. It's on YouTube. Continue watching it. So that I try to motivate them by giving them a little bit, or the trailer. Yes, or I show them the trailer of a movie that I know they can access because it is for free. It is, or I tell them the little bit of the first part of a story, and I invite them to go to the library and borrow the book, and so that they, get into
Encourage them.
it. Yes. Thank you so much, Group 4.
Thank you.
Very interesting indeed. And my students have learned tons watching movies, listening to music. I have improved my pronunciation listening to music in English. So I always recommend it. I always recommend it. So thank you so much. Thank you. So what about Group 5? I know that Alabu was not able to join the group, but I think that Ayad, was it? And Abir, you had a very nice conversation, yes? Would anybody like to share with you a hobby?
Yes, Miss Sylvia.
Thank you.
As our colleagues mentioned, that most of the students they engage in all or most of these activities, joining, for example, English clubs, listening to music or podcast, video games, chatting on the social networks, doing their homeworks and the projects also. From all these sites and programs, they prefer joining and participating in school activities to celebrate international and national occasions. They prefer any way to improve their speaking English language. Using website for doing projects, also using the AI is a good way for improving their speaking English language. The benefits for all of these programs or steps for improving their language, I think that they improve their skills, the learning, the language skills, and the technology also, technological skills. They learn sometimes new tools to learn a new thing, or to join a movie or to join a website. They have to make or sign in or make a new mail or account, for example, to do this thing. So this is a good benefit, that improving their technological skill. Learning also from each other, the students themselves, in video games or in forums or international programs such as I Earn, they learn from each other. They have also the ability to make their personality more stronger, and to have a good self-confidence. When I am a weak student and I listen for music or chatting on website, I have improved my self-confidence and build new relationships with new people. But there are some problems more than our colleagues mentioned. The poor internet connection sometimes is a problem for some students, and sometimes some students they learn slang language, not the formal or the good language for teaching and learning. And I noticed this with some of my students. Yes, they improve their speaking, but this is not the suitable language for lessons or for I don't know if you agree with me or not. Oh my God.
I entirely agree. I have heard my students say things that I wouldn't admit in my classroom. And when I ask,
yes,
where did you learn that? Oh, I watched this movie or I listened to this song. So, but it's great because you have an opportunity to teach them. They will feel, okay, I know something, but it is not appropriate for my classroom, or to tell my teacher, for example. So I had an opportunity to teach them the phrasal verb throw up, because he used a slang word when he was talking about that. And I said, no, well, okay, that would be okay if you're talking to your friends or whatever. When you talk to me, you need to tell me, well, so-and-so threw up and is in the toilet, so he cannot come to the classroom. So I think that even when the situation might be problematic, we can turn the problem into an opportunity.
Yes, we fix the problem to make it a good chance to learn from this mistakes.
Exactly.
That's all that we have done in group 5.
Yes, I thought that you were going to talk about finding a hobby. Have you have any of your students found a hobby to do in English? Because probably that could be a way to, for instance, some of my students wanted to take up drama lessons. So they joined a company who speaks in English here in Buenos Aires, which is strange because in Buenos Aires, Spanish is the language of everyday activities. So that was a hobby. And it was very important. I mean, it was very impactful for them because they were able to develop so many language skills, speaking, listening, reading, because they had to read the script. And it was a very, very complete way. So finding a hobby might also be very appropriate. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. That was group 5. I will ask Lubna, who was in group 2. What about English clubs?
We all agree that not all students can engage with these types of activity because every student has an interest, maybe science, maybe math. The benefits of English club, it can help them communicate in English in a relaxed way, build their confidence, and encourage the teamwork. Some of the issues or the problems, not all the students have the same level in English, and they can mispronounce some words. And English clubs or clubs in general need time and organization and commitment. And not all students love these types of responsibility.
Good point. Very clear point. Now, I was wondering, would you recommend your students to join an English club?
Yes, I would recommend for some students, not all the students.
Okay, for
students that are interested in English language.
Okay, so you would choose who to recommend this. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And have you ever thought of starting an English club in your
school? Actually, no. This is the first time that I think about it.
Okay. Okay. All right. So
Sylvia, can I talk?
Yes, Huda, please.
I think clubs can be more, let's say, exciting than the classes because you have time to do some extra activities or enjoyable activities, listening more to more music, watching more videos with the students. Not like classes, you have a curriculum and you are just want to finish the curriculum.
Okay, so there you have an option.
Yes, yes. Me as a learner, I was in an English club in my school.
Oh.
Yes, because it was a private school, but in public schools we don't have that choice.
How effective was the English club when you were at school? How effective was it?
It makes me like learning languages, French, English, etc. But if it comes to classes, I wasn't. I didn't like to be in the classes, like being in clubs, because it was enjoyable.
Okay. Okay. Notice these elements of things that happen outside the classroom that can be very useful and impactful on their learning. Great. Yes. Thank you very much. Abir, would you like to add anything about English clubs?
Yes, We tried in my old school for 5 years the idea of having an exciting English club. We started from the decoration with the students. We choose a classroom and we make it the English club for them. They decorated it, but they have the rule for this place is to use English, even for weak students, talented students, and average students. It was the happiest moment for them once they have to go to attend a class in the English club. We prepare any activity in English, any international occasion or any competition in the school inside English club. The result was that most of talented students, they were outstanding in our school. They have to talk about their hobbies in English. Weak students, we noticed that they improved from writing the alphabetical the letters to making a short paragraph. The weakest students who couldn't write a sentence, because we shifted from the classroom to a village. We call it village, English village. Yes, I support. I was so interested as a teacher when I were with my students in this place.
So evidently, English clubs can make a difference. Now, my
Yes.
question is, and this question is for everybody, what could you do so that state schools could also offer English clubs? Any idea?
We have the
What's the
opportunity.
question?
Yeah.
Because some people said this happens only in private schools. So what could you do so that the state schools could also have English clubs?
Can I talk, please?
Yes, sure.
In our public schools or state schools, we have the opportunity to have the English club. Any volunteer teacher could ask the principal to give her this chance to improve the students. We have in public schools English clubs.
So the solution would be volunteer as a teacher to create
yes
a club.
To create this idea.
Now I have a clearer picture. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Welcome.
All right. And now, yes, social networks. Okay. That was group 3, and I remember that Farah was in charge.
Yes.
Salah will talk instead of me.
Okay.
Yes, because Farah said that she had a severe headache.
Oh.
I would like to attract your attention for something. At this moment, we have a very important match between Jordan versus Masr versus Egypt. I think the holy group here is distracted. We are not fully concentrated. And if you hear my children shouted, you have to know that we scored a goal.
Well, congratulations, Jordan.
Yes, of course.
Very good.
We will play against Argentina at the first
Yes.
as the first group in the World Club.
Oh dear. That would be a challenge, really. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
We will play against Messi.
Messi will be there, yes. Okay,
Yeah.
people, so let's finish with the social networks. What would you say about social networks? Benefits, issues?
I just want to comment on the English clubs as an idea.
Yes,
I
please.
think public schools doesn't give you the opportunity as a teacher or as a student to engage in these clubs. Even if you created a club like that, you don't have a time as a student or as a teacher to be a part of it. Let's say you have this maybe 15 minutes as a break, but in this break you have to maybe eat something or take a rest. Just in private schools, sometimes they give them a part of their time to engage in these events and in these clubs.
Okay,
That's
so
my
the problem
opinion.
here is the time allotment and the distribution of time in the timetable. So that would be the big problem. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. So finishing with social networks. Who would like to tell us? Miss Al-Farani.
So sorry, we scored a goal, but yes, yes, we talked about social networking and gaming, and if students engaged with this, let's say, as a methodology to learn, yes, they get engaged. And as you know, that we live in the world of technology, in the world of network, so students have become very good at using social media in general, gaming. So we use this point to make them learn English. So I think they are highly engaged. The benefits of social network and gaming to improve their language, acquire new words, to learn more about other cultures around the world. And the challenges, maybe weak students feel shy to speak to people all around the world. And some students are shy. They feel a little bit shy to speak to other people. And also they have confidence. Also, we live in a society. We are here, we protect our children very much. How is that? That is by not allowing them to play with other people because maybe they will use bad words, not the target language that we want. And maybe the game itself is not appropriate. But one of the benefits I didn't mention, in my classes, I ask students about words, they know the meaning. When I ask them, how did you know the meaning of this word? They tell me, I know it from playing Fortnite, Call of Duty, and so on. So if we use it in a good way, it will be very very beneficial for students. And also it can make fun, يعني they can make fun of using the methodology to learn English.
You have made a very important points. Mainly, we cannot suggest doing things like playing games that are not acceptable for our children. So this is a very important point. So we cannot invite them to go into the social networks because they are too young. But we can take advantage of this, that they, in fact, at home, some are allowed to do this and they are learning. They are learning. So picking up that vocabulary will definitely help us, right? Thank you so much. Congratulations to all the groups and congratulations to the football match. The last point we're going to see today, because it's almost time and you want to watch the game, is about correction. And I want to make this point clear. Error correction is an aspect of teaching and learning. So this is something that has always existed, but it has divided teachers into those who assert that correction can be bad, can be counterproductive, and stop and hinder the learning process, and those who affirm that correction is necessary for learning to take place. So you have to decide which group you belong to. I belong to the group that considers that students must notice their errors. They need to learn from their errors. I don't penalize them for their errors. I don't think it's wrong to tell them about their errors, but we need to be cautious because not all learners are ready to learn from all their errors. So we might need to pick what errors to consider. So we're not going to have this discussion, but we're going to go into some important matters. Why do learners make mistakes? This is the first thing we need to ask. L1 interference. In my case, we speak Spanish. And a Spanish learner might say, I bought this book at the new library in my neighborhood. And I think that in your language, you have the same problem because they think that library is the place where they buy books. In Spanish, you have one word for two things. One word for library and the same word for bookstore. Is this so in your language? I think
No, it's not the same.
Uh-huh. What do you call the place where you borrow books in your language?
Where we borrow books. Yes,
Yeah.
مكتبة.
And
library.
and what is
library.
It's
I
the
mentioned
same.
library.
صح, it's the same, yes.
Okay, so you have the same
They are
problem.
the same.
So my students make mistakes and your students also make mistakes because their mother tongue is there, is always there. But
Yes.
I don't know, I wouldn't call it interference. The language, the mother tongue is always there. So when they don't know, they will resort to their mother tongue. Now, what other sources of errors? Is the mother tongue the only source of error? No. Interference is one. We said that. But overgeneralization. When you construct unknown forms according to patterns, instead of she bought a new house, the learners say she bought a new house because they have learned there is a rule for the simple past, and I use ed. So they overgeneralize. They apply the rule to all the forms. Or out of ignorance. Well, they don't know. It's okay. They made a mistake because they are using the rules in contexts that are not applicable. We discussed the problem, not we discussed about the problem. But, well, maybe they don't know. How can we expect them to know what they shouldn't? Or incompleteness. There are some incomplete forms, like when I omit the auxiliary. Well, because in my language, I don't use the auxiliary. So I tend to use where you come from instead of where do you come from. Or sometimes I make small false hypotheses. Yeah, I assume something that is wrong. I construct forms according to wrong assumptions. He was go on holiday. No, he was on holiday, or he went on holiday. But these are assumptions I made from my own way of thinking. Sometimes we teachers, hypercorrect. We correct a lot. So they feel that to make things sound more formal, I can say between you and I. Or simplification, right? Producing simplified versions. You went there, you went where, right? Instead of where did you go? Sometimes avoidance. We avoid a particular form because it is too difficult. So instead of using the present perfect continuous, how long are you living here? Instead of how long have you been living here? Or sometimes the teachers gave us the wrong input. Sometimes I always remember my students saying, my private teacher taught me that this word is aren't, and you say aren't. And I had to get the dictionary and show him that I was right. Or sometimes fossilization. We repeat the error so often that it's part of our own language. I used to write the word title with double T, and and my teachers corrected it all the time, but it was fossilized. It was there. And whenever I wanted to write title, I would double the T. So before we say goodbye, which is pretty soon, I would like to know if you agree with any of these and to what extent. So just go to the chat box and write the number of the statement that you agree with. They all refer to what we have just talked. They all refer to the different sources of errors. So what do you do with those errors, right? So I'm going to the chat box and I will read. So Huda says number 2. Mahdi says number 4. I agree with Huda. When they are speaking fluently, I don't interrupt. I jot down the mistakes and then I talk about the mistakes in general, but I never interrupt if they are talking fluently. Magdi agrees with number 4. You don't have to correct pronunciation errors if they don't interfere. Exactly. So correction is when you cannot understand. Amer agrees with Huda. Akram also agrees with Huda and Amer. Ala Al-Horani agrees with number 9. Good point, Ms. Al-Horani. It is important that the students know why their answer is wrong, not just that it is wrong. Otherwise, there will be no learning. Alba Karim agrees with Ms. Al-Horani. This is so very important. You are the teacher. You know why. So share that. Abir, Ahmed, Lubna, Hanan, they all agree with not interrupting students when they're speaking fluently. Why? Because we are aiming at fluency. We are not aiming at accuracy. Now, yes, once the conversation is over, you can go back or you can plan a lesson focused on accuracy. And when the lesson is focused on accuracy, you will correct. Great, great. Okay. Yes. Try to find out their mistakes. Yes, it is important, Ms. Alfarani, that they can they can identify the mistakes. That happens when it is a slip of the tongue or a slip of the pen. You underline it, you call their attention, and they can self-assess. But when they know the rule, maybe you spot it and they say, oh, yes, it takes did or it takes ed. Yes, I know the rule. Now, when it is something they have never learned, it is very difficult that they identify their mistakes. So we have, most of you agree with number 2. We have 1 for number 4. Most of you also agree with number 9. An interruption can cause destruction. Exactly. And also they will lose face value. They feel awkward in front of a rest being corrected. And always remember that when you correct, there's a person there, not just a sentence in English. So we have to be very careful. Of course, you have different ways of correcting learners. You can repeat what they have said. You can recast, said what they have said, but correctly. You can use body language, facial expressions. You can have them repeat so that they analyze what they have said. And you can also take some notes and then use your notes later. You can ask questions, right? Clarification questions, as I did today. I would like to ask you a question about this. And well, there are many ways of correcting, and we have some teachers' opinion here. Do you identify with any of these teachers? Again, I invite you to the chat box and tell me which teachers you agree with. Number 1 says, I must correct my learners as soon as I hear them making a mistake. Number 2, we should underline written mistakes and ask them to tell me what's wrong. Number 3, I make a list of the most common mistakes on the board and tell them they have to correct them. Number 4, accuracy must be more important than fluency. Okay, Mahdi, you chose number 5. Good. Good. In the case of number 5, Mahdi, you assume that they know it, don't they? I understand.
I use this strategy most of the time. I don't say the correct answer or the correct or I don't correct their mistakes directly. I choose the indirect way, and sometimes I ask them a question. Maybe through this question they will understand they are doing a mistake and they correct their mistakes by themselves. I don't give them the correct answer directly.
Right, right. So you invite them into this process of discovering the mistake and acknowledging, right, the sources. Great, thank you. Abir also chose number 3 together with Akram. And we have a number 5, a lot of number 5s. Hanan, Do you agree then with Amer?
Yes, of course.
Do you do this?
Yes, we should use, we should repeat the question and use body language more and more, and oh my God, I forget. I forgot what I want to speak.
It's okay. It's okay. I understand.
Okay.
I understand the point. Yes, definitely. All right. Now, I wonder why Rawan wrote accuracy must be more important than fluency, because I think there is only one for there. Rawan?
Oh, sorry, I mean that fluency is more important than accuracy. I'm so sorry. If the way, yeah, if accuracy is more than fluency, then the student will be fear of making mistake, will not be encouraged to participate. So
Well,
fluency is more important than accuracy, in my opinion.
but at the same, I mean, it's okay when the activities are freer activities, when there is a speaking activity, a debate, a discussion. But when you're giving them a drill or a gap fill, it's okay that accuracy is more important than fluency because your aim is accuracy. So number one, when we approach the learning process and we deal with mistakes, we need to know, what am I aiming at? Fluency or accuracy? And then what is the source of the error, right? I mean, what caused the error? If it is ignorance because I never taught it, because it's imagine type 3 conditionals, they will make mistakes because I have never taught it. So again, understand the level they are and help them with this according to where they are in the language continuum. So thank you so much. I do hope Jordan wins in the match. And well, we'll keep in touch. This is the beginning of our week. You will really enjoy the new module. I have deeply enjoyed our meeting today, as usual. So have a great time and have good luck with the match. Bye-bye,
Thank you.
everyone. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.